You can just sense that we're at one of those turning points as Canucks fans. The cap's going up, the league's changing, and suddenly the old rebuild tricks don't work the same way anymore. And for a team like ours, right in that awkward space between pushing forward and protecting the future, every single move suddenly matters way more than it did a couple years ago. Something happened this week that really makes you think about where this front office sees us, not just for this season, but for next season too. It's the kind of shift that could quietly reshape the roster without anyone expecting fireworks. And depending on how you look at it, it's either a sneaky opportunity or a risky gamble. I'll break it all down in a second. But before we dive in, if you're a real Canucks fan who rides every high and every frustrating loss like the rest of us, hit that like button and subscribe. This channel's brand new, we're trying to hit our first 400 subscribers, and we're building this as a proper community for Canucks fans who actually care. So here's where this gets really interesting. With the flat cap era basically behind us, teams aren't desperate to dump bad contracts the way they were a few years ago. Remember when clubs were literally attaching first-round picks just to move money? Those days are pretty much gone. Cap space isn't the rarest resource anymore. Talent is, and that changes everything. For us, that means two things. One, it's harder to pull off those sneaky, take a bad contract and get paid for it deals like Chicago did with us when they took on Jason Dickinson and Ilya Mikheyev in separate trades. But two, it also means some of our own messy contracts probably aren't as immovable as they would have been a couple seasons ago. Still, there's opportunity here. Distressed assets still exist. Struggling veterans on inefficient deals are still the most likely players to be moved before the deadline. And if you're smart, if you buy low at the right time, you can either fix the player and flip him later, or fill a hole without paying premium prices. So let's go through the 5 names that make sense for Vancouver. Warren Fogle, Los Angeles Kings. First up is Warren Fogle from the Los Angeles Kings. This one is fascinating. The Kings loaded up by bringing in Artemi Panarin, and now they've got a serious winger logjam. We're talking 10 to 12 NHL caliber wingers, that's too many. And GM Ken Holland already mentioned publicly that Fogle is a piece they'll try to move. He's even been a healthy scratch lately. Now here's why this is intriguing. Last season, 24 goals, 46 points. And 22 of those goals came at 5-on-5. That tied him with guys like Alex Tuch, Matthew Knees, Alex DeBrincat, and Connor McMichael for 17th in the entire league among forwards at even strength. That's legit production. This year, 6 goals, 2 assists in 43 games. Brutal drop-off. But dig a little deeper and you see some bad luck. His shooting percentage dipped below 10%. His line's 5-on-5 shooting is sitting at 5%. That's unsustainably low. It should rebound. He's 29, he forechecks like a maniac, kills penalties, and plays a responsible defensive game. He's signed through next season at $3.5 million. Here's the play. You acquire him cheap, maybe even get a sweetener if the market is soft, rebuild his value, then flip him at next year's deadline as a rental. We literally just saw third-line guys like Anthony Beauvillier go for second-round picks as rentals, and here's where it connects to us directly. If you bring in Fogle, it makes it easier to sell high on Drew O'Connor right now. O'Connor is scoring at nearly a 20-goal pace, makes $2.5 million through next season, and contenders would love his size and speed. That's the kind of asset cycling smart teams do. But, and this is important, if the Kings see Fogle as positive value and want to pick for him, then no. We shouldn't be paying futures for a bounce-back gamble. Ryan Strome, Anaheim Ducks. Now this one is messy, but interesting. Ryan Strome has been a consistent 40-point center for 6 straight seasons. But this year, 8 points in 32 games. Healthy scratches. Dropped off the first power play. He's basically their 13th or 14th forward now. He's 32, $5 million cap hit. Signed through next season. No trade protection. He's not fast, never was. But his 5-on-5 shooting percentage is at a career low, his PDO is unsustainably low, and his role completely cratered. Put him in a bigger role with power play time, you might get that 40-point player back, and we need center depth. Anaheim has cap space, over $12 million now and around $40 million this summer, but they've got to re-sign Leo Carlsson, most of their blue line, and Ryan Poehling. There might be some motivation to move money. The problem? We cannot be spending real futures on a 32-year-old reclamation project. The only way this works is creatively. Maybe in a Teddy Bluger type deal where we move a defensive center and take Strome back while gaining a conditional mid-round pick. It's not sexy, but it could give us a middle six center for next season and a flip candidate in a year. It's about flexibility. Barrett Hayton, Utah Mammoth. Barrett Hayton is a different category. He's younger. He has arbitration rights this summer. He had a breakout year last season, but his role dipped this year and he's been scratched at times. He's a natural center, wins faceoffs, plays with grit, sneaky good net front guy on the power play. But centers cost a premium, and there's real league-wide respect for him. Utah also has to decide what they're doing with Nick Schmaltz after his career year. That contract dynamic could create pressure. If we're being realistic, Hayton probably isn't cheap enough for us unless he's part of a bigger blockbuster, like if Elias Pettersson or Jake DeBrusk were involved in something massive. Otherwise, it's probably not the fit. Andrew Mangiapane, Edmonton Oilers. Now this one? This is cap pressure opportunity. Edmonton has almost zero flexibility. Dollar in, dollar out. And because of new CBA rules, they can't do the double retention trick they used last year to fit Trent Frederick. Mangiapane makes $3.6 million through next season. He hasn't meshed. 12 points in 49 games. In and out of Chris Knobloch's doghouse. But from 2021 to 2024, he was at least half a point per game every year, including a 35-goal season in Calgary. He's not as clean a bounce-back bet as Fogle, but because of that, Edmonton might have to attach a real sweetener to move him. And here's the spicy part. Alan Mitchell wrote that the Oilers need a third-line forward with speed and size. Sound familiar? Drew O'Connor fits that perfectly. Imagine flipping O'Connor to Edmonton, taking Mangiapane back, and extracting a draft pick. That's asset management. Oliver Bjorkstrand. Tampa Bay Lightning last one. Oliver Bjorkstrand. Tampa paid 2 first-round picks and a second to Seattle last year for him and Yanni Gourde. Gourde worked out. Bjorkstrand hasn't. He makes $5.4 million. On pace for 15 goals and 40 points. Only 2 5-on-5 goals. And that's while playing on Tampa's loaded first power play most of the year. He's solid defensively, versatile, but underwhelming relative to his cap hit. Tampa has almost no cap space. If they want to take one more real swing with their aging core and the East wide open, they might need to dump salary to add a difference maker. If the market for Bjorkstrand is soft, we could step in and demand a sweetener to absorb him for the rest of the season. Low risk, short term, potential asset gain. What this means for us. Here's the big picture. We're not in a tear-it-down rebuild, but we're not comfortably stacked either. This front office has to be opportunistic. If there's a chance to buy low-extract picks, flip assets later, and keep flexibility, you do it. The cap going up means you won't get first-round picks just for helping someone anymore. But distressed players still create leverage. The key is discipline. Do not pay futures for someone else's mistake. If we play this right, we can improve the roster now and still stockpile value for next season. And honestly, that's what smart contenders do. Look, this is the kind of deadline that quietly defines whether we're building something sustainable or just patching holes. So I want to hear from you. Which of these names would you actually take a swing on? Fogle, Strome, Hayton if the price drops? Would you help Edmonton out if it meant getting a pick back? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you made it this far, hit like and subscribe. Canucks Nation Report is brand new. We're chasing our first 400 subscribers, and we're building this with real fans who live and breathe this team. Let's see what management does. Because the next move, it might tell us exactly what they believe this team really is.